Welcome to series of database management system video lectures. Today we will be discussing about Unit 5 topic 1.1, which is an extension to structured query language, continuation of it. So in the previous session, we have already discussed about the data definition language commands such as create, drop, insert, delete. Now let us deal with truncate now. Let me use my database. Let me print all the tables which are available in this database. Fine. Let us use books table. Right, we have these records as part of books table. So now when we use delete from table name, that is books, all the records in the table gets deleted, but the structure remains in the database. Now, if I wanted to delete all the records, then we can use delete from table name, will remove all the records. If I'm very particular in deleting only book ID number, which is equal to 45, then we can write delete from table name, that is books, and we can add where clause, where book ID equals 45. If we write a query like this, it deletes only the record which matches to that book ID. Okay. So now, if we do like this, we'll be able to get only that record gets deleted. If I use truncate table name is books, then it removes all the records in the database in the table, and also the structure is also removed from the database. With delete, only the data is going to be removed, whereas with the truncate, data plus the schema in the database also gets removed. So now, let me create a table with the content. Create table. Table name is, that is books extension. Let me write the table name as a books extension. Select from the table name is books. Okay, so now what I'm trying to do is that let me get all the records which have been taken from the books. I wanted to put these set of records into another table called as books extension. So let me display books ext. Yes, we have. Now I can delete this record by using truncate. Truncate table name is books. If you write a command like this, it removes all the records. Now, if I wanted to retrieve any records from the table, it will not be able to show because it is empty, right? And let me describe the structure of that particular table. Yes, the structure remains the same when I use a truncate. Only the records have been deleted, but the structure remains the same. Even with the delete also, we will be able to either remove one record or we can delete multiple records at a time. Preserving the structure of the database remains in the memory, right? And then finally, we have drop table. Drop table does deletion of the records as well as the entire structure. If I issue drop command upon this books table, drop table name. Yes. Now, if you are attempting to access to the records, it shows that there is no such table which is available, which means that the schema or the structure of that table is also removed from the database, right? So these are the three differences between comparison between delete, drop, and then truncate. Moving on to the next command as part of data definition language, that is alter command. Now with alter, we have 5 possibilities to modify the existing table. The first one is add a column. Now let us add a new column to the database, to the table. So now I wanted to add a new column to the existing table, right? So now let us do that. Yeah. So we have books extension, right? So alter table name is books extension, add contact number, which is of type, let us go with varchar data type of up to 12 characters. Okay. So now this is how a new column has been added to the existing table. So for the books table, we earlier had only 3 columns, that is the BID, book name, and then author. So if I describe the table, books extension, if I describe the table, another new column has been added, that is home. Okay. So now I need to add all the content. If I view the data, that is table name is books extension. Now we can see that the 3 columns contains the data, but the last column do not contain any data, and by default the value is taken as none. So I need to fill up these empty values. So this cannot be done by using alter command, but you can do it using update command. Okay. So now moving on to the next command, that is alter with rename a column. Now I have already this phone as the column name, so let me change that. Alter table name, rename. I wanted to change that phone column name to be, that is the old column name, to new column name as contact. or I wanted to give it as mobile. Okay. So now let me change the column name, that is phone, to mobile. So either table, table name is books ext, rename column, that is mention the old column name as phone. I wanted to change this to mobile. Okay. So now this has been affected. So let me describe, or we can even go with the previous command. Yes, the column name phone has been modified to mobile. That is the second modification to the alter table. The third one is modify a column that we have done, or delete a column. Now I wanted to delete one particular column. So either table, table name is books extension, remove. Table name, I wanted to remove one column, then drop, mention the column name. Let us say that I wanted to remove book ID. Then drop that particular column. Okay, either table name, drop the column name. So now this has removed that. To find whether it has been deleted or not, we can again go with a query statement, that is select a star from table name, right? So now this is the next version of it. So now add a column is done, renaming a column is done, modify a column. Now I wanted to change the mobile column to be something else. That is, if it is already taken as varchar, let me go into with integer. Okay, so alter table, table name, modify this particular column name, that is mobile, to mobile. Let us give it as int of length 12 characters, because the mobile number contains 10 characters. So let me take one value up, right? So this is how it has been modified. To view that, describe books extension. If we do it so, the mobile one has been modified from varchar data type to int. Now I need not mention int to the value here, the size. If it is going beyond that range, it will not accept the values, right? So now modify is done, dropping one particular column is done, and finally renaming a table. Now this is my books extension table. Now I wanted to change this to alter table, book extension, rename to new one is books. Okay. So now I have renamed my table. To view that, we can simply give it as yes. So this is how we are referring to this particular table using books name, right? So these are the various versions of alter command that we have done. So with this, the entire DDL commands are done. Moving on to the DML commands, we have already discussed the insert command and delete command. Let us perform the changes upon update command. Updates now, as we could see that there are null values in this mobile column. Let us add few contents. Update. Now let us use the next command, that is update command. Update. We work with the same books table. Now I wanted to update all the mobile numbers to this records. Update books set mobile equals 9988777659. Yeah. So now I wanted to set up this value to only to the author, where author equals Dr. Arun. Okay. Update books set mobile equals. It is not allowing where out of range value. So let me reduce this. Okay. Now one record has been updated. Let us see how this has been effective. Yes. So only one record has been updated. Let us repeat the same thing for the other records as well. So instead of putting 99 to the front, let me add at the end. So where the author name is, the next author name is Uttam Kumar. So as these are varchar, you need to put in single quotation, right? Yeah, where spelling, right? Okay. Now let us change even the third contact number. So we are updating this where the author name is Gilbert's. Okay. So this is how all the three records have been updated. Right. So we need to use a set. Now, if you wanted to apply the same value to all the other records, then we can just go with only one set statement. Okay. Update using set so that everything can be applicable uniformly to all the other records. So with this, so DDL is completed. As part of DML, insert is done, update is done, delete already we have done. So this call can be discussed when we deal with the cursors, triggers, and procedures. Okay. And then locking mechanism also we will do as part of the other videos. Right. And then when it comes to DQL, already we have used a select command as part of it. Moving on to the next one, that is DCL commands, that is grant and then revoke. DQL command. So now we'll be continuing with DCL commands, which will control the accessibility to the data. So we have only two commands, that is grant and then revoke. So before we get into it, we need to open with MySQL Workbench. As I already told you how to deal with MySQL Workbench, open your Workbench and then let us create a user for this Workbench. As soon as we open a Workbench, we will just find only this MySQL connections. And if you wanted to access like a root, then you can just click on it and then provide the proper credentials. Now, as I have to control the accessibility of the data which is there in the database, I need to log in as a root credentials or a manager credentials or a database administrator and then set up the access privileges and then access as a client. So now for a root, I have manager password. So now I'll be acting as a manager for this particular Workbench. So now after logging into as a manager, I need to create a user here. So here is the command create user. I gave the username as CSCPSNGID. Okay. So now whoever may be the user accessing with this particular username should be provided with the password that is capital CSCPSNGID321$. So here is the credentials, the username and password. Based upon that, I'm creating one user, right? Now, after creation of the user, I need to provide the access privileges to the user. So we need to type in the command grant all privileges on. So on the database, the first asterisk represents the database. Within that database, all the tables. Okay. The second asterisk represents all the tables. Now, to the specified user. So whatever the user that we have created earlier, to which particular user, I am giving access to all the databases within which all the tables are accessible. Now, when you have given all the privileges, you will be able to perform creation, deletion, insertion, updation, right? Any kind of commands can be allowed. And then next, I wanted to stop deletion of the records and dropping of the table or the databases for this particular user. So revoke is a command which will stop or which will take out all the privileges which have been given to that particular user. So I'm not going to encourage delete and drop features upon that database and the tables for this particular user. Okay. So now after providing this, once we have set up with this, I need to create a user. Now I need to access like a client here. So to do that, I need to create one more client like this. I need to mention the IP address. And then here the username should be given as I gave CSC, PS, NGIT, KMEC. And then we need to provide a password here. So I gave it as NGIT there. So then click on name to be the server IP address wherein the MySQL software has been installed. Okay. So in this manner, we first set up client and then server communications. Now, once the client is created, I need to create a new database. So now I created a new database with the name new DB client. Now I'm attempting to create a table here. After logging into the database, I need to create a data table. So I'm creating with a client table with only 2 fields and inserting the records. So here I'm inserting 4 records and then I'm trying to print it. So one after the other, the command have to be selected and then run this particular command. For each and every command, we will be getting the result at the bottom, right? So now till here, creation is allowed. Creation command was granted by the manager. Insert is also allowed. Select is also allowed and delete. Now I'm trying to delete one record from this client table. When I'm running that particular command, delete from client where CID equals 11, it is not allowing because you were not given to perform deletion operation. Okay. So revoke will not allow you to perform the operation, right? Now, if I wanted to change that, so what we need to do is that after granting all the privileges, I need to just change the revoke command. Yeah, I need to modify the revoke command. So revoke drop on so and so table and databases to the same user. Earlier we gave delete as well. Now I am trying to remove delete but stopping drop here. So this is how you will be able to delete the record, but you cannot drop the entire structure, right? After doing this, you are going to grant delete option to the user with the name provided. Now, after displaying all the content of the table, we are attempting to delete the record here. Now, the second level of verification is also being done here. So, by default, for MySQL Workbench, delete and drop are going to be taken as unsafe commands or unsafe operations. So, I need to change that options and only then it allows us to delete that. To do that changes, we need to go to Edit menu, select Preferences, and then select SQL Editor. Scroll down, you will find Safe Updates option, which is already checked. So, that we need to perform uncheck of that particular operation. And that's how you will be able to perform updates and then deletes upon that particular table. So once the setup is changed, the preferences have been modified, you will be able to perform the operation. So I'm repeating this delete operation. So now we got the success status at the bottom. So this is how grant and revoke helps us to access to the data, and you have a total control over the data to which particular user, how the data can be accessible.